Welcome to Chapter 5. So for 5.1, we're looking at the Apothecary System. Alright, so another sort of system of measurements. There are lots of different ones that do exist. So the Apothecary System is an old system of measurement where many common measurements like the gallon, quart, pint, and fluid ounce are derived from the Apothecary System. Certain medications, especially older ones like aspirin and morphine, are sometimes labeled and ordered using apothecary units. Apothecary units are less familiar and can be confused with metric units, so they are infrequently used. Metric units are often preferred for dosage calculations. Alright, so normally metric units are used, but because apothecary units still sort of pop up, it is good to know. So here are some equivalent apothecary measurements. So in terms of weights, we have 1 ounce is 48 grains, 16 ounces is 1 pound, 60 minims is 1 dram, and 8 drams is 1 fluid ounce. Alright, some interesting ones there. So note, grains versus grams. They are not the same. So a grain is a measure in the apothecary system. Where a gram is a measure in the metric system. Okay, they sound really similar, but they are different. Alright, so converting from apothecary to metric. Converting from grains to milligrams is very similar to converting between minutes and seconds. Alright, so where 1/4 of a minute is 15 seconds, and 1/4 of a grain is 15 milligrams. So for example, if this whole circle here is 1 grain, there are 60 milligrams in that 1 grain. Just like in 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. Or in 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. Okay? So a way that you can relate them. Just like you'd be converting between hours and minutes. So for our first example, we're going to write the equivalent apothecary measurement. Alright, so let me just... Okay, so we're going to be referring to this up here, so keep that in mind while you're working on your notes. So writing the equivalent apothecary measurement. 1 ounce is how many grains? Well, if we look up at our example above, we actually see that 1 ounce, it's already in our measurement system. It's 480 grains. Okay, so our answer 480. For 2, 60 minims is how many drams? Okay. Real quick, I think this one is missing the edit that I put in, so sadly I will go ahead and write in what I had. Originally it should be 80. 80 minims. Alright, so we're going to have to go ahead and convert this. What do we know? Where is a relationship between minims and drams? Well, we know that 1 dram is 60 minims. Okay, so that equals, well, we're going to have to go ahead and make a proportion to find out how many drams. We don't know, so we're going to use X number of drams, and then our 80 minims. Okay, going ahead and cross-multiplying, we will get 60x equals 80, and then we can go ahead and solve that. So x equals 8 divided by 6. Simplifying, x equals, so dividing top and bottom by 2, we would get 4 over 3, which would be the same as 1 1/3. Okay, let's go ahead and solve this one. So once again, this should have had an edit. I hope the correct version has been uploaded to Lalima. I'll check that after this video. And this one should also have been edited to 3. Alright, pause the video and try check to see how you can solve 4 drams and how many fluid ounces are in 4 drams. Alright, well, let's go ahead and solve this. So, what is the relationship between drams and fluid ounces? Well, I know the relationship does exist where 8 drams is 1 fluid ounce. And we have 4 drams, and we're trying to figure out how many, so we're going to use X, fluid ounces that is. Sorry, my cat is crawling around under my desk, trying to figure out what he's up to. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cross multiply. Let's see, we have 8x equals 4. Solving for 8, let's go ahead and divide both sides by 8. And what do we have? We have x equals a half. All right. So 4 drams is half fluid ounces, or 0.5 fluid ounces. Okay, now let's see. 3 pounds and ounces. So converting this, I want to find a relationship between pounds and ounces. And I have one relationship was that 1 pound and 16 ounces. That's my equivalence. So going ahead and solving this, I'll do 3 pounds over, well, we don't know how many ounces, so we're going to go ahead and use X. And solving this, let's go ahead and cross multiply. And 16 times 3, what is that going to be? Let's see, 48. So 48 ounces. Oops, getting a little squishy here. All right. So now moving along, household systems. Okay, just like the name sounds, these are the systems that you normally see in the house. Most of the times I would think of things like if you're baking, these are the measurements that you tend to use when baking. So these are the following household measurements that are most likely to be used in a medical setting. All right. So we have the following. Well, really quickly, so we have 1 pound and 16 ounces. And then we've got 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. 1 pint, 16 fluid ounces. 1 ounce, 2 tablespoons. And 1 tablespoon, 3 teaspoons. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go over the abbreviations for all of these measurements. Some of them have more than one version, so got to keep that in mind. A little tricky there. Whoever made this up, I don't know why they decided to make different versions, but they did. So for drops, GT or GTT. For teaspoons, we'll do teaspoon. I think that's the most common one I've seen. Or just a T. Okay, this document does need to be updated. It's missing the tablespoon section. Okay, so for tablespoon, the abbreviations we have are, actually there's 3 of them. Wow, tablespoon, or a capital T for the big tablespoon. So teaspoon would be lowercase t, the little baby t, and tablespoon is the big bambucha T. Key. Let's see. All right, so ounces. Ounces are OZ. Oops, wrong color. Cups, just cup or C. And I believe that is a lowercase c. For pints, lowercase pt. Quarts, lowercase qt. Gallon, GAL, and pound, LB. I haven't actually looked into a lot of the beginnings of some of these abbreviations because some of them don't quite make a lot of sense to me personally. Like I'm not quite certain why that would be pound, but that would be something fun to look into. I should do that sometime. All right, so moving along, write the quantities with the appropriate abbreviations. All right, 2 teaspoons. Let's see, where are the teaspoons? Oh, actually we have 2 different types for teaspoons. We got that version or that version. I'll go ahead and write both of them out. So 2 teaspoon or 2 teaspoon. Okay, go ahead and try fill out the rest of the problems in the example. Pause the video and check back in with me. Alright, so going along with this, 75 drops. So drops, okay, there are different options. 75, and then there's the GT, or there's 75 GTT. For 3 drops, there is, let's see, 3 GT or 3 GTT. Now you'll notice that when I write a T, I don't often use this for a lowercase t. Reason being, that often ends up looking quite a bit like a plus sign, and when you're working with lots of numbers, that can be very confusing. So I'll curve my T, just curve the little base there. That way I can differentiate between a plus sign and a regular T. You do not need to do that. That's just what I found is helpful when I'm working with math. Alright, 4 fluid ounces. Okay, so let's go ahead and well, there's only one option for fluid ounces. Oh, actually, I didn't write that down, sadly. Okay, fluid ounces, sorry, that has not been written down. It should be FL for fluid, and then OZ for ounce. 8 gallons is 8 GAL. And 1.5 tablespoons, 1.5, either tablespoon or 1.5 tablespoon, or finally with a very large capital T. Alright, so now let's go ahead and write the equivalent household measurement for the following. Alright, so let's see. So once again, it looks like I think the wrong version got uploaded to this. I'm sorry. I'll have to change this video for the next time. But I believe problem number 4 is actually the problem number 1 on your document. And this one has been edited out. Sorry for the confusion. Okay, we're going to go problem number 1 first, which is going to be this one. Once again, sorry for the confusion. Alright, so 32 ounces is how many pounds? Well, once again, we're just going to set up a nice little equivalence or a proportion to solve. So 32 ounces, how many pounds? We don't know. What is an equivalence with ounces and pounds? Well, if we look up at that measurement chart up at the top, ounces and pounds, right there, we got 1 pound is 16 ounces. Okay, so we are going to be referring back to that as we solve these problems. Okay, so what was that? 1 pound. Remember, we put the pounds in the bottom. 1 pound, 16 ounces. Okay, so solving, we're going to cross multiply. And we get 32 equals, remember we dropped the units at this time. It's going to be 16x. We'll be keeping units later on, but right now we're just sticking simple and dropping units. 16 divided by 16, 32 divided by 16 is 2x. So 2 pounds. Alright, go ahead and try solve number 2 by yourself and check back in with me in a second. Pause the video. Alright, so we have 4 tablespoons. I'll just go ahead and use capital T. And we want to know how many ounces. Alright, I need an equivalence between tablespoons and ounces. So if you check your chart, you'll note that 2 tablespoons is the same as 1 ounce. Let's go ahead and cross multiply for this to solve for x. Once again, for now, dropping the units. 2x equals 4, so then x equals 2. 2 ounces. Okay, I skipped a step there. The step that I skipped was when we divide by 2. Okay, so if you can do that step in your head, that is perfectly fine. If you need to show that work, that is also fine. Okay, let's see. 2 tablespoons is how many teaspoons? Well, what I know is I know that 2 tablespoons is, I don't know how many teaspoons. See, now this is a great instance where capital versus lowercase means 2 very different things. Okay, the capital T is tablespoons, and the lowercase t is teaspoons. Okay, so once again, just please be careful of your capitals and lower cases. So what's the relationship between tablespoon and teaspoons? Well, 1 tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. That is also from our chart, up at the top of page 2. Okay, let's go ahead and solve by cross-multiplying. So then we'll have 6 equals x. So our answer is 6 teaspoons. So once again, that 6 came from the 2 being multiplied to the 3. And that x right here came from the x being multiplied to the 1. Alright, one more page to go. Gotta fill these babies out. Okay, once again, I think your document will have a bit more of this filled out, but bear with me. A lot of things to write in here. So we have 1 teaspoon is going to be equal to 5 milliliters. And please note, this, when I write that little symbol there, that is an approximation. They're not exactly equal, but that's the approximation we use. And then we have 1 pint is equal to 480 ml. That does not have that little approximate symbol there. The 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds. 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces. 1 tablespoon is equal to 15 milliliters, and this one, note, is an approximation. 1 pound is equal to 454 grams. 1 ounce is equal to 30 grams, and also an approximation. 1 fluid ounce is equal to 2 tablespoons. One fluid ounce is equal to, there's part of the, goodness, this is the wrong notes. 30 milliliters, that's also an approximation. 1 gram is equal to 60 milligrams, also an approximation. So a lot of these are approximations, but sometimes that's what happens when you convert between units. Things are not perfect, sadly. And 15 grams is equal to 15 grains is equal to 1 gram. Alright, so once again, remember, we have grain versus gram. Okay, so let's go ahead and write out the equivalent measures using our chart. So, well, we have the given information, 3 kg, kilograms, and we do not know how many pounds. So we got to find an equivalence for that. Okay, looking through our chart, see if you can find kilograms and pounds. Where are you? Where are you? Have you found it? Right there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and use that. So we have 1 kilogram, the same as 2.2 pounds. So let's go ahead and solve without the units at this time. That will be 3 times 2.2. Okay, go ahead and work on this while you can on the side. Okay, so that's going to be 6.6. £6.6. Alright, go ahead and see if you can set up the equivalence for number 2. Pause the video and check back in with me in a second. Alright, so we have 30 milliliters equal to, well, we don't know how many tablespoons. I'll use a capital T for tablespoons. Why am I using the capital T? It's just less to write, honestly. Yes, sometimes it's easier to just go with the easier mode there. Okay, let's see. ml and tablespoons. We got any milliliters and tablespoons on our chart? Ah, right here. Okay, so we have 15 milliliters. It's approximately equal to 1 tablespoon. Let's go ahead and solve by cross-multiplying. And we have 15x equals 30. Divide both sides by 15, and we get x equals 2. So answer is 2 tablespoons. Moving along. Alright, so you're going to need to refer to our chart as we move along here. So we have 180 milligrams equal to how many grains? Alright, note that's a grain symbol. Let's see, on our chart, what do we have for equivalences? Milligrams and grains. Well, so we know that 1 grain is the same as 60, as we mentioned before, on page 1, milligrams. Okay, so setting up our equivalents here, we have x grams, grains, we don't know how many, and 180 milligrams. We'll go ahead and cross-multiply. And we have 60x equals 180. Solving for x, we'll divide both sides by 60. Oops, I don't know what that was. It's a 16. Okay, canceling that, we have 18 divided by 6, which is going to be 2. So 180 milligrams is 2 grains. Okay, try set up 4 by yourself and check back in with me in a second. So it'll be 2 ounces over how many grams? Let's see. Equivalence between ounces and grams. Oh, we have an approximation. 1 ounce is about the same as 30 grams. We'll go ahead and cross-multiply to solve. We get x equals 60. So 2 ounces is 60 grams. Ooh, home run here, home stretch. All right, so on 5. 30 grams to how many, 30 grains to how many grams? Well, let's see, we have 30 grains, and we want to know how many grams. Looking at our equivalents, grains and grams, 15 grains is 1 gram. That's approximately. Okay. Going ahead and solving with cross multiplication, we'll get 15x equals 30. Divided by 15, divided by 15, x equals 2. Okay, so 30 grains is about 2 grams. Okay, once again, that is an approximation. So if we want to do, we could probably be using an approximation symbol on all of the ones that did have an approximation. And last problem. 2 teaspoons, I'll use a lowercase t. For how many ml? So we don't know how many, so we're using x. Well, a relationship we have between teaspoons and milliliters. Let's see, what do we have? 1 teaspoon is 5 milliliters, and that is also an approximation. 1 teaspoon is 5 milliliters. So we'll go ahead and cross multiply. Let's see, 10 equals x. All right, there's our answer. Oops, and our approximation. So if we wanted to, we could be using an approximation symbol, x. It's about 10. All right, and that is it for Chapter 5.